All right, I want to jump to this next one as I get the website up. Hydrogen powered aircraft completes first flight and is voted breakthrough technology of the year. What's going on
Yeah,
here?
I love hydrogen technology. I think it's the future, and I don't think EV is the future. I think hydrogen is. So this is a great article for me. So what happened was a hydrogen-powered aircraft developed by Zero Avia completed a successful 10-minute test flight, which represents the longest flight powered by a hydrogen fuel cell to date. Um, the aircraft used a 6 kilowatt proton exchange membrane fuel cell to generate electricity from hydrogen stored as a compressed gas. And there's different ways that you can generate hydrogen. So this is one way they went about it. The cool thing about this was the achievement was voted the breakthrough technology of 2023 in a survey conducted by MIT Technology Review, which really is interesting given all the other tech that we talked about that was developed in 2023. So this just highlights the promise of hydrogen for greening the aviation sector, and not just the aviation sector, the trains, planes, automobiles, ships, all that. It's just a little bit of background. So the aircraft took off from an airport in the UK with half powered by hydrogen fuel cell and battery combo. So it wasn't just pure hydrogen fuel cell. They also had batteries on board to help power it. So no, no gas or no aviation fuel that was used, and so a little bit was used by jet fuel for comparison, but that was it. So what they Zero Avia are aiming to commercialize this technology by 2025, which is really soon. We're talking a year from now. They have over 1,500 pre-orders, and they've raised about 140 million from investors, including Bill Gates, which might not want to talk about him today, but yeah.
Yeah, and I read the other article, which I'm going to pop up here as well. This stuff is really cool. I know you're a big fan of hydrogen. So this was great when I came across this one. But it turns out, this is like the 10th test flight. The 10th flight of the initial series was completed in, July. So
Yeah.
talk about future rangers of the system and teeing up a cross-country flights as the next stage. And they've seen the campaign has tested the aircraft up to 23 minutes in the air.
Oh,
So
so a lot longer than 10 minutes.
yeah, the campaign has seen it fly 5,000 feet, perform 23 minutes, operate in a wide temperature. This was a secondary article. I just thought because it had a little
Oh,
bit more info, not as much as
yeah.
on specifically on the flights, and temperature range from just above freezing. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see. Are we going to see? You say 2025? Like we saw these issues with Boeing. We had another crash recently, or not a crash, sorry, an issue where
A window explosion.
it was a door that was covered over. So if you want to know what happened there quickly, they get the delivery of the plane from Boeing and they change the seat configuration. Now I've heard two things: they change it to make more seats, or they change it to get leg room. Either way, they change it, and when they change it, they don't need as many emergency exits because of the number of people on the plane. So they seal this one off. There's an emergency exit door that gets improperly sealed off there, and
Mm.
that's what causing the problem. And so this is like an aftermarket kind of thing when it arrives at, and they've done some recent since this, they found that there's a bunch of loose screws and nuts and bolts securing this. So these have been grounded till they fix it. But this is the 757 Max. Are we ready? We have Boeing and Bombardier building, long standing companies that we're supposed to trust. Though I've got a story about that. And we've got these new companies, Zero Avia, coming out with brand new planes. Are we just gonna trust them? Like, I love this technology, but somebody who can manufacture thousands of planes and have them all fly.
I think so here's the thing. I think that they have more to prove than Boeing and Lockheed and all these other because Boeing has this reputation, whereas Zero Avia doesn't, of safety. Well, not so much anymore, but they did. Which is why, and we can get into this or not, but that's just why the FAA entrusted them to kind of do their own audits. So,
yeah, which has caused all these problems.
Which has caused all these problems, and it apparently hasn't been fixed. So I think if I would put my trust more into a company like this, which needs to prove itself, which needs to be safe from the start and all that sort of stuff, rather than Boeing. Sorry, Boeing.
Yeah, so I used to be friends with a gentleman who was an engineer at a Canadian plane manufacturer, let's just say, and not to name names or anything. And one day, he comes in and we're chatting. We're at the local pub, and he's really upset. And I talked to him, and he turns to me and, like, in the deadest voice, this is Craig. All I can tell you, honestly, is don't fly. Don't ever fly again. It's not safe. And I go, all right, dude. I trust you. This is what you do. I don't know what the issues were around some of these things that happened, but you can see as this stuff comes out with the FAA outsourced their review process and the auditing to the builders of the thing, that stuff was happening and corners were being cut. I agree that they probably have more to lose. Well, I don't know. They don't have more to lose because Boeing and Bombardier are worth billions and billions of dollars. That we're not there yet. But yeah, I'm concerned about that. But I agree that there'll probably be more quality control and thoroughness on these things as they're brand new than, say, the existing companies.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they've got more to prove. Yeah, whereas we've got the legacy here where they really don't give a shit about. They care about profits.
Yeah, so let's get into the tech a little bit. Do you know anything about the weight to power ratio of hydrogen versus the other fuels we've used in the past?
No, I just know, obviously, we both know that hydrogen is less energy dense. So liquid hydrogen has a lower energy density by volume than jet fuel. So that requires larger, heavier tanks, but density is improving. The other thing is efficiency. So fuel cells convert hydrogen's energy directly to electricity with up to about 60% efficiency, which is higher than combustion-based alternatives, interesting enough.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about how much are we reducing the number of people we can do in an airplane, because these are going to be some combination of hydrogen and battery powered, which is going to increase the weight of our aircraft significantly?
I don't think so, because in the article, their future goals were to include larger 19-seat and 40-seat aircrafts powered by hydrogen fuel cells, so solely hydrogen. So I think the technology is at a point now, it's at the precipice, it's at the cusp where it is pretty much usable in transportation. But it needs a little bit more to get there to be commercially viable in airplanes. But I think the technologies, or at least the hydrogen technology, is there.
Yeah, they're talking about that one test flight. Was it the one was with a 19-seat plane for sure?
Yeah.
I don't know what the other ones were. If it's the same, it's a ZA 600 plane. I don't know enough about that. So I'm a little concerned about the weight ratio.
Yeah.
What are the challenges in developing, hydrogen refueling network? So, hydrogen's unavailable now. We have big refueling stations at these airports. We're going to have to do something like completely rebuild this. How does this work?
Yeah. So the biggest thing, production costs. So electrolysis or steam methane reforming is needed to produce green hydrogen adds. It's going to be pricey. compared to extracting hydrogen from fossil fuels. Transportation, hydrogen is difficult to transport via pipelines like natural gas due to its small molecular size. So tankers are an alternative, but then you increase your distribution costs, storage. So although hydrogen has a low energy density by volume, it requires large pressurized tanks, which are costly. They're heavy, they take up more space than fuel tanks. Also, complexity. Hydrogen refueling stations involve compressing, storing, and dispensing the fuel safely, unlike standard gasoline diesel pumps. So, complete opposite. So, it increases installation complexity. Again, new safety regulations are going to be needed, new codes, new standards are going to need to evolve globally to properly address the flammable range of hydrogen and the different hazards than conventional fuels. Right now, there's low demand, so that's another challenge, and then public acceptance. So those are two challenges for any technology, but I would say those are the main challenges.
Yeah, I think there's obviously the challenge around am I filling up a tank or am I just replacing a tank? And the fact that the seal has to be so, like, I used to drive a propane powered vehicle for a while, and you go to fill it up and you get that psh when
Yeah,
it's the seal's not quite right and the propane's leaking out. That happens in hydrogen, you're dead.
yeah.
Hydrogen hits the oxygen and boom. So like that has to be locked down from a consumer point of view, because we talked about trying to get that into your car, trying to get that now where is somebody running up with a fuel truck and you can't just dump liquid in, you've got to have a interesting connection. I'm curious to see how this goes from a scientific to a consumer level fueling process.
Yeah. What the thing is like jet fuel is flammable, gasoline's flammable, so it's just a matter of coming up
Yeah,
with
but
new.
they're flammable. But if you spill a little on the ground, with hydrogen gets mixed with oxygen, that's what causes the combustion. You
Yeah,
can't spill it because it explodes.
yeah, for sure.
So it's like that's what I mean. They can't stick a nozzle and have it. It's got to be airtight, sealed tight, locked in. So that's the technology that
Well,
we haven't consumerized.
the other thing is don't store hydrogen, store water, and then
You can't
do.
do that.
What do you mean?
How do you do that? Because it costs so much energy to convert the water to hydrogen, more than the hydrogen gives off.
Right now.
So yeah, right, absolutely right now.
Yeah,
And it takes so long that you're going to be constantly doing this. So like airports could have solar farms potentially, but that becomes an issue because, you
yeah.
know, I imagine that's a issue for planes flying, all the reflective crap. Unless you can get non-reflective. I'm sure you can get non-reflective. So they're
For sure.
I would see them building solar and wind farms around them to produce the hydrogen. But we're talking about a lot, and you're right. Right now, it takes more energy to produce it than it does give off. So it's a question of at what point in the future does that flip?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. Again, we're at the cusp, but there's still a lot more development that needs to be done. But we need to start thinking about the infrastructure now and start thinking thinking about all these things now, for us to get to a viable usability for it.
I agree. I like what's going on here. I like the concept of hydrogen, and when we can get it where it produces more energy than it does to produce the hydrogen, then we've got a definite winning formula to move forward. I'm really excited about this. We're going to see these out there in 2025. They got an order for 1,500 last time we checked, so
Yeah,
I'm really interesting to see where this goes and how they are priced compared to similar regular powered engine planes.
absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and to see other use cases and adaptations for hydrogen into transportation and other use cases. So it's going to be interesting.
Indeed. This has been great. We're back on a regular schedule on Friday morning at 8. So we'll see you in a couple of days. But what do you got? Anything to promote?
No, just there's a program happening right now called CDAP, for those that don't know, Canadian Digital Adoption Program. If anyone is looking for a zero interest loan to buy hardware, software, anything like that, feel free, reach out to me. I'm happy to have a conversation and help you expand your business, help you get more sales and things like that. That's primarily what I'm focusing on.
Fantastic. And we've got lots of stuff going on. We've got Startup Pitch Battle online happening again. We've got Startup Face Off kicking off. We've got Startup Investor Drinks happening every month. The next one's January 25th. I'm not sure if this will be out before then. We have co-founder matchup event in February, which will be exciting at Futurepreneur. We have a bunch of new stuff going on. If you want to work with me, check out startupcoach.ca. But all that stuff will be on torontostarts.com. Go there, check out everything. And thanks for listening.
Thanks so much. And thanks for the conversation, Craig. Always a good time.
Indeed. Thanks, John.
Take care.